Hello everyone and welcome back to my next life as a villainess. All roads lead to doom. We're going to be doing chapter 5, The Truth of Rosie. Set attacks Catarina, Mary, Sophia, and Maria. Rosie saves them, but is forced to reveal his true name and a title. Yay, we're probably gonna learn his title too. He learned his true name in the last one. Well, looks like they're going to get saved in this chapter, so that's good. Sorry that this video is not going to come out on time, because I'm not even recording it until today, so I did not get as far ahead as I needed to be able to keep up with all the time I was going to be spending playing D&D, so apologies. I can hear the steady churning of ocean waves. My head's beating like a drum. I hope I don't sound too hoarse today. I did a lot of talking yesterday. A lot of loud talking, because that's how D&D games go. Where am I? What was I even doing? Yep, you were on a boat, which is what I thought you were going to be. Set has this, like, escape boat outside of his room, and I thought he was going to put them on there. Although with, with 4 of them, him and Frederick, that's probably a pretty tight squeeze. I wake up and I find myself on a small boat. Huh? What is this? At my side I see Maria, Sophia, and Mary, all unconscious. Seeing them like that, I remember we were knocked out. That's right, Set's group. I tried to get up, only to find Set, Frederick, and Ryle also there. Oh, Ryle's there too.
もう目が覚めたか。思ったよりも早いな。薬が切れる時間についてはまだ改良の余地があるか。
Why did he take all of them though? All he wanted was Maria and all the other roots.
それよりここは
I mean, because Rosie's a witness, so you have witnesses already left, so I would have just left all the rest of them there. Looking around me, the vinculum is nowhere in sight. Could it have sunk? It did explode and all. No, there's no way that huge ship could sink that easily. It must be fine.
セット様、あの後ロジーたちはどうしたんですか？それにビンクルム号は消火はできたんですか？
ロジーな。答えてやる義理はない。それにもうお前たちには関係もないことだ。
He seems different. I thought he was a bit more mild-mannered during the party. Because he's played friends. Glance over at Ryle and Frederick, but they avert their eyes. Oh, Ryle feels guilty. He just doesn't like you. What's going on here? If what Frederick said was true, he was trying to save us. No, he's not. But considering we were knocked out, I find that hard to believe. We're the only ones here. Seriously, what's going on? I mean, just ask him, I guess.
まったく、もう少しで全てうまくことが運ぶところだったというのに、よもや国王派の横槍が入るとはな。
The loyalists, huh? Is that the pirate group?
国王派？何の話ですか？
なんだ？聞いていないのか？意外だな。
That's probably Rosie's group of pirates.
だが、まあ、だからといって親切に情報を与えてやる義理はない。
Of course not. I don't get what he's saying, but I don't like him. Okay. Here comes Maria. I hear Maria grunt as she slowly opens her eyes.
カタリナ様。マリア！よかった、目が覚めたのね。
Maria sits up, not fully awake. Her hands shoot to her mouth when she sees the other two still unconscious.
ソフィア様、メアリ様、大丈夫でしょうか？
ああ、光の魔力保持者も目を覚ましたか。 薬の副作用もないようだな。
Set looks at Maria and scoffs. I really don't like him now.
ソフィア様とメアリ様は大丈夫なのですか？
どうせじきに目を覚ます。それまでおとなしくしておくんだな。
He was practically licking her boots during the party. I know, he was playing nice. Compared to that, this obvious change in attitude leaves both of us confused. The phrase beautiful girl kidnapped crosses my mind. Maybe I'm just collateral damage. Mary Sophia and Maria are all beautiful girls. That would make perfect sense. Why does she not think she's beautiful? I have to protect them. I try to glare at the men as much as hostility as I can in this cramped space, but Set just scoffs.
とにかく今はおとなしくしているんだな。どうせ船の上だ。何もできまい。
It's true, there's nothing you can do. But if Mary makes up, there's plenty she can do. As I continue to glare at Set, Maria glances down before turning to me with a frown.
船にいる皆さんはご無事でしょうか？それがよくわからないのよ。ビンクルム号がどうなったかも教えてもらえなかったし、でもあっちには王族のジオルドやアランもいるし、きっと大丈夫なはずよ。そうですよね。きっとご無事ですよね。
She doesn't seem as convinced as you. But Maria's expression doesn't change as she stares out to the vast sea. The vinculum is nowhere in sight. But the pirate Silva called this his precious prey. Considering that, I hope he'd at least try to get us back. My biggest concern is what happened right before I passed out. Is Rosie alright? I remember Rosie's voice desperately calling my name as I lost consciousness. With all the pirates there with Rosie, I have to believe he'll be fine, but worry gnaws inside me. I think they were talking about putting out the fires first. Wait, considering the timing, doesn't that mean the explosions were set up by Set's butch? So flooded with questions and anxieties, without even knowing where the ship is, there's nothing we can do. I huddle closer to Maria and look out at the ocean. Soon I see something resembling an island slowly growing bigger. Then we land on this island.
ってこれ、まさか無人島じゃ。
I doubt it's deserted. I don't think the premiere would go to somewhere deserted. I wonder if this is the pirate island. There's only wilderness as far as I can see, not a single sign of human life. What are they going to do? Sophia and Maria are still unconscious. I'm worried.
何事も備えだな。フレデリック。
はい。
Following Set's command, Frederick lifts up a bird cage. What? Huh? There's a bird cage? Are they gonna send, like, messages with it? As I stand, mouth agape, Frederick pulls a bird from the cage. Oh yeah, that looks like a messenger bird.
じっとしていろ。
He says that so sinisterly, doesn't he? Ah. Frederick ties a piece of paper to its leg and then releases it.
あれはマルコルムバ。
The pretty bird.
マリア、あの鳥を知ってるの？はい。クイードについて少し調べた時に知ったのですが、海上での連絡手段に用いられている希少な海鳥だそうです。確かどんなところからでもつがいのもとへ飛んでいくとか。おそらくマルコルムバを使って陸地と連絡を取ろうとしているのだと思います。よかった。じゃあこの島で一生過ごすってことにはならなそうね。
The rest of our lives. It seems like an uninhabited island, so we might be in survival mode for a while.
ここは
Maybe because of the Macumba's squawky, Mary and Sophia finally wake up.
ソフィア、よかった、目を覚ましたのね。
ようやく目を覚ましたか。ならば私たちについてこい。
ほら、さっさと船を降りろ。
You don't have to hold a sword to them. I'm sure they'll get off.
なんですの？随分と失礼な方ですわね。
We all look at each other but decide to follow them away since there is no way to escape if we just stay put. And so our fight for survival begins. Or so I thought. Oh.
おい、さっさと入れ。
They're like in a little cabin. Is this a hut?
こんな場所があるんですね。
Maybe it's a different island.
クイード国ではこうしてどの島にも非常用の小屋を用意させているのだ。我が国は貿易が盛んだからな。
おかげで忌々しい海賊に襲われることも多いがな。しかし奴らがまさか。
フレデリック。
失礼いたしました。
What was he about to say there? I doubt he would answer me even if I asked, so I stow my curiosity.
それよりこれからのことを考えませんと。彼らは信用できませんわ。
Well, obviously, but what are you guys gonna do?
メアリから見てもそうよね。どうする？逃げる？
こんな状況で逃げ出そうとするなどバカが考えることだな。だいたいお前たちをこの俺が逃がすとでも。
How does he feel guarding all these women? He heard us, so you guys weren't being quiet.
まあ、うまく小屋から逃げたところで、ここは無人島だ。お前たちだけでは助けを求められないし、船で逃げたところで、この広大な海で遭難するだけだろうがな。
確かにあの船じゃそうなるかもしれないけど。本当に嫌な感じですわ。
Frederick places his hand over his sword threateningly. The four of us are placed together in the corner of the hut. Diana's like that, set smirks with satisfaction.
まあ、おとなしくしていれば無下には扱わぬから安心しろ。お前たちは我々の大事な、いや、私の待望のために必要な存在だからな。
Ambition? What's his goal? I do not entirely understand, but just the realization that he has no intention of releasing us to Sorcia puts me on guard. He brought us here by force after drugging us, so it can't be an upstanding goal. Their strange attitudes are curious too. I need to think this through properly and decide the whole strategy me to consider my options. Buddy.
それでは作戦会議を始めます。まず気になるのがあのセットたちの態度です。明らかに以前と比べて嫌な感じでした。
しかも何か企みがあるみたいに見えるわ。一体それは何なのかしら。確か船の上で国王派の横槍がなんとかって言ってたような。国王？それってジオルドのお父さんのソルシエ国王のことじゃなくてクイードの国王様よね。
You know, I never really thought about Rosie being the king's son. That would be really interesting, wouldn't it? Prince Rosie.
ええ、セットはクイードの宰相ですし、ここはクイードの国王と考えていいかと。
It would make sense for a prince to visit another kingdom's palace if they have some kind of negotiating terms to talk through.
クイードの国王派から横やりってことは、クイードの国王様から何か邪魔されたってこと？
会話の流れ的にはおそらくそうでしょう。
でも横やりってソルシエでは国王と最初、ジオルドとニコルの両親同士は協力し合っている良好な関係ですが、もしクイードでは国王と最小が対立していたとして、どっちが悪者なんでしょう？
まあセットの方でしょうね、雰囲気的には。
そうね、雰囲気的にはセットが悪役だわ。態度が完全にそうだもの。じゃあ今の状況ってかなりまずいんじゃん。大丈夫だよ。きっとロジーとか海賊のみんなが助けに来てくれるって。
確かにここには光の魔力保持者であるマリアがいます。海賊たちも追いかけてきて、結果的には助けてくれるかもしれません。
でも海賊たちと結託したら、それこそカタリナの破滅フラグが立っちゃうんじゃん。そうよ、海賊と仲良くなったらファンディスクの悪役令嬢カタリナと同じになっちゃうわ。海賊と合流しないで自分たちで何とかする道を見つけるのよ。ではここは
Vote to escape ourselves. We're going to vote to trust Rosie and wait.
ロジーを信じて機会を伺うということでいいですかな？いいです。
Alright. That should wait. Will that really solve anything? Yeah.
カタリナ様、大丈夫ですか？
With my strategy meeting done, I turn around to find the girls all staring at me.
カタリナ様、安心してください。私が必ずお守りしますから。
You know, I think out of all the ones here, Mary is probably the one that could protect her the most. I would think water magic would be more useful than wind. It depends, I guess, how strong her wind can get. In contrast to her words, their faces are creased with worry. Seeing the three of them like that, I renew our resolve to be the one protecting them. But Frederick keeps us under close watch, so there's not much we can do. In the end, night falls without avail. After eating a simple meal of rations, the girls and I lie down together. We only have a simple, rough cloth as bedding, but despite the discomfort, I'm getting sleepy. I'm not proud to admit it, but I can sleep anywhere. The moment I lay down, the drowsiness overcomes me. I know we need to think about what comes next, but I immediately fall asleep. That's funny. In my dream, I am Atsu once more. Hey, maybe I can get some good info about this pinch I'm in right now. I lay down at the desk, and at that very moment, Atsu begins flipping through the magazine.
このファンディスク、なかなか攻略難しいな。雑誌に何か情報が載ってるといいんだけど。
Are we finally going to see Rosie? There it is. There's info on the fan disc. Let's see. I desperately try to gather as much as I can. I look for anything relevant to Quid, the Premier, or the King. Oh? There's nothing about them, but there's a little print of Set's face. Then Atsu turns from the magazine to the TV. The fan disc plays on the screen. Was that a bomb? I hear a familiar voice from the speakers. Sounds like they just bombed the ship there. Oh.
この船は俺たちサングリード海賊団が制圧した。騒いだやつから撃つ。
Is this the scene where Silva attacks? Wait, Sangre Prize? Did he say a different name? Oh yeah, this is her first time realizing that there's different stuff between the game. Not to mention, the Silva on screen has a wicked smile I've never seen before. This Silva is different from the Silva I know. The tone of his voice sends a chill down my spine. They look like actual pirates, like they got the pirate hat and everything. Hey, Maria was captured by the pirates. Come on, romanceable characters, go on and help her. I hope that a character with a high affection level will appear, but Set's sprite flashes on the screen instead.
おのれせっかくここまで来たというのにこのままでは私の計画が台無しだこうなったら
He just get shot?
セット様
Huh? Huh? Did he just get shot?
騒いだやつから撃つって言っただろおいてめえらこいつを拘束しろ
Yes, sir!
Big beefy shirtless pirate.
貴様私と戦え束になって卑怯だと思わないのかおいおい海賊ごときが騎士道精神を持ってるとでも思ってんのか海の上にルールなんてもんはねここじゃあ俺らのやり方が正義なんだよあばよ軍人様
Does he even know his name or title in this one, I wonder? Oh no, Frederick too! The Silva shouldn't be such a cruel character. What the heck's up with this fan disc? The game screen says Rear Admiral Frederick and Premier Set have been murdered by the pirates.
ははほら殺されたくなきゃおとなしくまとまってるんだな
Wow, he's just killing everyone. Silva shoots anyone who tries to run. Maria, restrained by a pirate, watches the massacre, unable to comprehend it.
そんなひどい
皆さんこちらにお逃げください今避難用の船を
Rosie! Hey, that's Engineer's voice. Isn't that Rosie? As I appear to get a better look, I hear the sound of a flintlock talking. Uh-oh.
おっと乗客を逃がそうったって無駄だ
Oh no.
あんたにも死んでもらう
Wow, he just shot him too. What? Rosie too? How can this just go around killing everyone? My dream shocks me awake. My head is still spinning. What was that dream? Why was Silva killing so many people? And that engineer PC really was Rosie. I thought it would be better to do an NPC than a villain with doom flags, but I forgot how disposable NPCs are. If you're an NPC, Maria doesn't even scream when you die. The ship. What a slipshod way to go. Wait, that's not the point here. In the dream, Silva killed Set and Frederick. And in the game, Catarina is working with that evil Silva. Wait, then that means that in the game, Silva and Rosie aren't friends? But in reality, they seem to be pretty close. They speak their minds without reserve. They act almost like brothers. I can't believe that Silva would kill Rosie. Besides, the Silva I know doesn't seem to be the type to kill people so ruthlessly. Then that definitely was just a dream. I decide it's better to go back to sleep instead of thinking about it any longer. But that dream was so startling, I'm now wide awake. I can't sleep. I try my best, but ultimately give up and get up. It should be okay to get some fresh air outside, right? Where's Frederick and Set? At my side, I see that Sophia, Maria, and Mary are all sleeping soundly. I quietly stand up, trying not to wake them as I head to the exit. Set and Ra are also sleeping nearby, so I try to sneak by them without alerting them, but...
どこへ行くつもりだ
Yeah, he's not gonna let you go. Right as I get to the exit, the sword blocks my path. Someone was awake. Seems like Frederick is keeping watch. He glares at me from his seat by the entrance. Yeah, someone's gotta keep watch. I mean, because of course you guys are trying to get up and escape. Really logical.
いや 外の空気でも吸ってこようかと。フレデリック様は眠らないのですか？
I try to play dumb and he scoffs irritated.
私は見張りだ。眠るわけがないだろう。
まさか一晩中ですか？
これくらいして当然だ。とにかくさっさと戻れ。貴様の声を聞いているだけで不快だ。
Her voice disgusts me. I wonder if in one of these, she's going to be nice to him and he starts getting soft towards women instead, being always disgusted by them. So hostile. I guess they do say he's a woman hater. I remember him pushing away the ladies that surrounded him at the party. But in the dream I saw, he was murdered by Silva. Because of that, all I feel is relief that he's alive. It's odd, but I don't feel offended at all. Right. With Set asleep, I might be able to squeeze some info out of Frederick. Maybe I should try to keep talking to him.
どうしてそんなに女嫌いなんですか？
女など皆空気が読めない上にかしましくて最悪だ。いいところなど何もない。
Well, he just blurted that a lot, didn't he?
俺の姉たちも母もいつも俺を見下して。あの顔を思い出すと腹渡が煮えくり返る。
Ah, he's actually being honest about it. Wow, that seems to run deep. Got a memory scenario. It's gonna be about him, isn't it? The day I chose my life. Yep. This is when he decides to not take any more of the crap that his step family is providing. I never knew my birth mother. She passed away when I was still a baby. After that, my stepmother, or rather my father's new wife, took control of the Erson family. If only he chose someone decent. Unfortunately, his new wife is nothing but cruel. My childhood was a living hell. My stepmother and stepsisters harassed me every day. No matter how I begged my father, he was too timid to reprimand them.
お前は長男だろう。彼女たちのわがままくらい許してやりなさい。
Their adorable childish behavior? Okay.
わがまま。あの決して最悪な嫌がらせが？
Soon I had given up on my father. He never believed a word I said. No one would save me from my new mother and sisters. They continued to yell at me and abuse me just for fun. Yet, as the oldest son, I was regarded as the family's heir until I was 10. For that reason alone, I was tolerated. But when my stepmother gave birth to a boy, my position as heir was stripped away. I was disinherited and cast aside. The heirs and family had no need of me. The evil stepmother who seduced and corrupted my father. My stepsisters who only knew how to look down on others. Women in this world were all appearances and completely rotten on the inside. The thought hardened into a cruel truth. At least I was fortunate enough to enter boarding school before my stepbrother came. I was happy to be away from my family, but they refused to move me into the dormitory, so I had to commute from home. The reason was simple. Those ugly women needed someone to abuse for entertainment. They were far too sadistic to be satisfied mocking the servants. It seemed that I was the best option. Thus, even after entering boarding school, my life at home was unchanged. Every day I would return to their jeers and insults. Eventually, I started to think that my life was meaningless.
ここで授業を受け、知識を蓄えることに何の意味がある？
Even if I were to graduate, the only future waiting for me was one being used and robbed by those odious women. The moment I realized that, I began to think studying hard was utterly pointless. I started skipping classes. I knew that the teachers were worried about me, but I couldn't care less. None of this would give me a future. It wouldn't give me someone who understands. The teachers would never save me from this awful situation. I skipped classes and wandered the school instead. Yet, I could just not disregard the teachers' worries. I knew they were only concerned for their own positions, but it was difficult to ignore people who showed me care.
誰か一人でもいい。自分だけを見てくれる人がいれば。
Please, give me a place to belong. Give me a reason to live. That's all I need. My mind grew hazy and my body slowed. Such was my life, gloomy and depressing. And one day, everything changed. I was skipping classes in childish rebellion as usual.
くそどいつもこいつも
I was kicking trash cans at random in the schoolyard to vent my anger when someone approached me from behind. That's set.
誰だよどうせまた俺を叱るんだろ
I turned around, expecting to find a teacher, but to my surprise, instead stood a man every citizen in Quinn knew, the Premier, at Norden. This was how I met His Excellency. I heard at the time that His Excellency was there to inspect the House of Lords. For such an important man to find me slacking off, my face went pale. If he reported this to the school, I could have easily been expelled. And then I would have no choice but to spend the rest of my life as the target of those moments' abuse. I started to tremble with fear at the thought of having no place to go. It made me realize just how powerless I was. I lost all hope in myself.
くそ俺にもっと力があれば
Still, I could not stop my trembling. Perhaps His Excellency noticed this and realized something was wrong. He spoke to me.
お前、名前は何という？
フレデリク・エルソン
Not knowing why he asked, I answered his questions unthinkingly. I could not understand what he might have wanted. I told him why I skipped class and why I was raging about. As I answered bit by bit, I soon found myself unable to stop confiding in him. I told His Excellency everything, the story of my family, of my shame, everything I had never told anyone before. Everything I never could tell a soul. For the first time, I spoke those words.
そうかそうか。お前は辛かったのだな。
When I finished my story, His Excellency spoke those words and smiled. I was in awe. He had kindly listened to my whole story, and he had not ignored me. And then he smiled.
私にもよくわかるよ。お前のその憎しみと恥辱の感情がな。
He even empathized with me. All of this was new to me. The first person to understand my pain. I was stunned. The first person to understand was the Premier himself. I stood staring up at him. When I said nothing, His Excellency spoke to me again.
フレデリク・エールソン。お前は家族を見返してやりたいと思うか？
His words reached deep inside me. Driven, I nodded forcefully.
はい
そうか。ならば私の手足となってみないか？そしてその恥辱を晴らすことに力を注がないか？
So he's been a bad guy since the beginning. My life thereon changed dramatically. Ever since, I have devoted my whole self to His Excellency, the man who accepted me. Though I preferred desk work, I chose the path of a soldier, as His Excellency wanted a reliable comrade in the Navy. And in order to meet his expectations, I quickly gained the title of Rear Admiral. I will live for the person who needs me. No one will deny my way of life. If my lord intends to head down a path of doom, I will simply cut down the obstacles before him, nothing more. Even if he is to sacrifice me in the end, I have already decided to devote my life to this man. Yeah, when you're left with the only one person that will accept you for who you are, I guess you'd do anything for that person. It's only a moment before the heated anger vanishes into a cold glow.
くれるこの俺を貶めたことを必ず後悔させてやる
That reminds me of how ruthlessly he attacked Rosie and the pirates on the Vinculum, and it gives me goosebumps.
分かったらとっとと戻れ女の声なんて聞いていたくもない
はい
He continues to glare at me as I hobble back to where I was and lie down again. That was scary. I don't really get it, but it seems like he started to hate women because his stepsister and stepmother mistreated him. I know he has his own circumstances, but I still think his attitude is bad. I wonder if he had that attitude in the fandics too. Ah, maybe he softens up after meeting a heroine like Maria. Maria is a super heroine. She's so wonderful that even I would want her as my wife. Now that I think about it, Frederick's woman-hating personality makes him seem like a potential romanceable character. Ozzy thinks that Silva is the secret romanceable character, but it is possible that Frederick is one too. In any case, I close my eyes, hoping to dream of that fan disc again. I somehow succeed in falling back asleep. But no fan disc. The next morning, we receive what appears to be a canned soup and biscuits for breakfast.
随分と変わった食べ物ですね。はい、初めて食べました。
確かにあんまり美味しくないけど、この状況で贅沢は言えないわよね。
I glance out the windows as I chew through the biscuits. Frederick and Ryle are standing outside the hut. The two of them finished their food quickly and went outside. They seem to be watching out for something. Meanwhile, Set is making something by himself in the corner of the hut.
何をしているんですか？
お前が知る必要はない。
She's just trying to make conversation. You're like, shut up.
相変わらず嫌な感じですわね。
そうね。でも、あの線香みたいなの何かしら？
Maybe he's making more drugs for you. That takes out a thick stick of what looks like incense and lights it. A sweet fragrance emanates from its smoke. I smelled this somewhere before. Is it the Satch perfume stuff? Oh
最
no.
初に使っていたピンクルム号の部屋に置いてあったサシェと匂いが似ている気がするわ。
They're trying to weaken you.
本当ですね。あのサシェはベルダー公爵が用意されたものだと聞いていましたが。
じゃあこれもベルダー公爵の新商品なんですか？
何をバカなことを言っている。あのサシェを作ったのはこの私だ。
Wow, so Ryle lied in every single route about the Satches.
セット様がですか？
That's unexpected. Who could have guessed that this old grandpa was designing Satches that appealed to noble ladies? It was an impressive blend.
なんだそんな驚いた顔をして。我が国を何だと思っているのだ。我が国は発明大国と言われるだけあって、若者の多くは発明家やそれに紐づく職人や研究者といった職種を目指す。私も若い頃は。
That trails off mid-sentence. He shakes his head as though driving away some memory.
もう昔のことだ。
I was hoping to hear more. It's a shame he stopped talking, but the scent filling the air is wonderful.
それにしてもこれ本当にいい匂いですね。なんだか花畑の中にいるみたいな香り。
Set stares at me with an absent-minded shock. Huh? What's with him? I look at him blankly, and Set's expression becomes bitter as he looks away.
似ても似つかん。
Who's her? You guys keep throwing out these him and hers, and just leave us wondering. Resemble? I wonder if this smell is like his late wife's like favorite smell or something. Maybe that just her saying that she likes it reminded him of her or something.
カタリナ様がどなたかと似ていらっしゃるんですの？
まさか前にこいつと同じことを言ったやつがいただけだ。
Aha, well I'm half right. she said something very similar to someone he's already known.
クレマチスが好きだというから私はその匂いをわざわざ調合して再現してやったのに。
Face hardening, Set quiets his words and turns back to his work. I wonder who he's talking about. Yeah, it's probably his wife that has passed away. Still very curious. I sniffed the scent again. It does smell nice, but...
船にあったサシェみたいにふわっと香るくらいの方がちょうどいいような。少し香りが強くありません？
No, it's not too strong. He's trying to weaken you. Although, I like the smell. It's so overwhelming, it's almost choking.
確かに少し強いですね。
ふん、だからどうだというのだ。お前たちの意見を聞き入れねばならぬ道理はない。
Well, that's true, but when this old Gramps talks like a villain, I just really don't want to agree with him. But it's such a wonderful creation, it seems like a waste. And with that, I take another deep breath of the incense. Yep, it's dragging you guys. Oh, I've got almost a whole day there. I open my eyes and find myself on the vinculum. Huh? Why am I here? Could it be that going to the deserted island was set was all a dream? I look down at my feet and realize that I'm floating in the air. Huh? What is this? Is this a dream or an out-of-body experience? Stunned at the scene, the pirates pass in front of me.
大頭、こいつの顔見覚えがあると思ったらあれですよ。
Huh? This guy. Hey, it's Rosie. The pirate underling is holding Rosie, who bleeds from the gunshot wound. That Frederick and Ryle lie on the ground nearby. Then that means this is a dream. It's a continuation of the fan disc. But I'm not in Atsu's body. For some reason, I'm actually in the game. I don't know what this means, but seeing Rosie bleed like that is no laughing matter. Rosie! Rosie, are you alright? I try to call out to him, but nothing comes. Seeing Rosie's lifeless body makes the blood drain from my face. How did this happen?
あ？なんだよあれって。おい、どけ!
So Silva steps on Set's body as he approaches Rosie. Oh wow. He roughly grabs Rosie's hair and lifts him up before laughing aloud.
おいおい、マジかよ。ただの技術者かと思ったが、まさかこんな場所にあんたが紛れ込んでるなんてな。
Rosie's someone important in the fandom too.
またこの貴族の顔を直に拝むことになるなんて思わなかったぜ、ロジ。
No, he's awake. Aristocrat, huh? So he's not the prince's son or anything. I wake up with a splitting headache. Huh? What? What is this headache and that dream just now? I want to process what I saw, but with this splitting headache, it's hard to form coherent thought. Actually, when did I fall asleep? I remember smelling something nice and then...
カタリナ様、大丈夫ですか？
Ah,
昨日の夕方に寝入ってしまってから目を覚まされないので心配していたのですが。え？あれ、もう朝になってたの？はい。無事に目を覚まされてよかったです。
Maria's smile brims with relief, but her face looks a little whiter than usual.
マリアの方こそ平気？顔色が。
This chapter's going to be a long one, I can see it. We still have one more choice to make and 2 more memory scenarios. And it's 48 minutes into the recording.
私なら大丈夫です。
Maria smiles weakly. She definitely does not look fine to me. Worried, I take her hand. It's as cold as ice. The stress of being here must be getting to her. It only makes sense. We're stuck in a place like this. Of course, she'd feel sick. We have been kidnapped, and we have no idea if the others are safe. Maria is a compassionate girl. Of course it would bother her.
カタリナ様、お加減が悪いのですか？ ちょっと頭が痛くて。で、メアリーもソフィアも顔色が悪いじゃない。私なら平気です。
Sophia shakes her head, but she and Mary are white as ghosts. The worry is getting to them too. No, it's that incense that's affecting you all. Still, I thought I was tougher than this. I can sleep even on hard floors, and I am still eating properly. But considering this terrible headache, the situation might be getting to me more than I thought. I even dreamt about Rosie getting shot. I don't know how the real Rosie is, so I can't help but shiver at that nightmare. Rosie and the others are safe, right? Gerardo, Keith, Alan, and Cole. I still don't understand how the explosion occurred, nor why we're with Set's group right now. That smell is also gone. The sage-like fragrance felt overpowering at first, but maybe because my nose has gotten used to it, I don't smell it anymore. My head hurts. Feeling ill and helpless, we huddle together and hold hands.
で、そういえばセット様たちみんないないけれど。
I think it might be our chance to escape, but Mary shakes her head.
あの方たちは小屋の外に出ていらっしゃるようですわ。外に？
I peep out the window, and just as Mary says, Set is there. But wait, why is he setting up a tent outside? Could it be that the men are trying to be considerate of us and sleeping outside? No, I highly doubt these guys would be as kind as that.
セット様、船が一隻近づいてきております。
They're gonna have some sort of meeting with someone. I hear a snippet of conversation from outside and lean closer to the window. A ship? Could it be the Vinculum?
船影は小さかったので、おそらくビンクルム号ではないと思いますが。
How convenient of him to answer your question. No, it isn't.
旗は
掲げていないため確認できません。
こちら側か否か判断がつかぬか。まあ、リガードウェルがこんなに早く手を回してくるとも思えぬ。十中八九あちら側だな。
リガードウェル？あちら側？さっぱり意味がわかりませんね。
Sophia and Maria are just as confused. Then I notice Set turn towards the hut.
昨日のあやつらの様子を見ていれば、肝心なことはまだ何も知らない様子だ。交渉次第でまだ撃てる手はあるはずだ。
I think he's still trying to sell him off to someone.
ですが、しかし
相手はまだ16の子供だ。わかるな、公爵。それに隠れたとしても、どうせ限られた島の中だ。逃げれば追いつかれる。その船とやらを迎えるとしよ
う。わかりました、閣下。
So what is going on? I can't let them find out we're eavesdropping, but internally I'm screaming. I don't understand a thing they're saying.
こちらに来るようですわ。窓辺を離れましょう。そうね。
Sophia urges me to move away from the window and sit still. After a stomping of footsteps outside, the door opens.
さっさと立て、海岸へ行くぞ。
海岸って
ぐずぐずするな。
But my head hurts. I force up my tired body and head outside as Frederick demands. Breathing the fresh air, I feel a little better, but the headache won't subside. The other three are obviously not doing so well.
みんな大丈夫？
I whisper to them, and Maria nods despite her pallid complexion.
はい。少しめまいはしますが、カタリナ様のことはきっとお守りします。私もです。こんな具合の悪さで遅れを取ったりはしませんわ。はい。どんな船かはわかりませんが、きっと風の魔力で何とかして逃げ出す隙は作ってみせます。
All three of them still look kind of sick. And I have this throbbing headache too. Guess we know we have a headache. I can't help but worry. about what comes next as we follow Frederick and the others. With heavy strides, we arrive at the beach. An unfamiliar ship is anchored in the shallows, but standing before it are familiar faces. Oh.
Catarina!
I knew it was going to be him. It couldn't be anyone else. Rosie and Giorno and the pirates too. I think they took the pirate ship to come save them, probably. Okay, so this is where you make a save file.
ま、やらかす前に保険をかけておくのは悪くない考えだ。
And we're going to run up to Rosie. The moment I see Rosie, relief overtakes me. I run straight for him.
Rosie!
Not gonna be confined?
Catarina!
The head suddenly sears in pain, causing me to halt in my tracks. Oh, I didn't think so. In that moment, Frederick moves between us, blocking our paths.
カタリナたちに何をしたんですか？返答によっては容赦しません。
Show you no mercy.
おお、こっちの方が人数は多いんだ。悪あがきなんざやめて、おとなしくしといた方が身のためだぜ。ほんとよくもやってくれたもんだ。人の獲物をぶんどるとは、よほど命が惜しくないと見える。
Fear the demon of the fog.
ははよく言ったものだ。まだ私がお前たちの化けの皮を見抜けていないとでも思っているのか？
True identity, let's go.
化けの顔？
この娘を助けようとしていたそこの男、ロジオンと呼ばれていたな。
What do you mean was? Was Rosie? That points directly at Rosie. Rosian. Strangely enough, that name does sound familiar. One of the pirates called him that as I passed on the vinculum. And he spoke with an oddly respectful tone. A pirate did. What's up with that?
前髪を下ろし、帽子をかぶっていたせいでよく顔が見えず、私も初めは気づけなかったな。
The hairstyle, huh?
ロジオン・リンドグレーン。お前がそうであれば、今までの流れのすべてに納得がいく。
His hairstyle did change. He like pushed all of his hair back. Now it's all slicked back. He looks much better like this, actually. And now he looks really cute. Rosie takes off his hat and brushes his hand through his hair. Then he looks straight back at Set and nods.
ええ、そうですよ最初。俺はロジオン・リンドグレーンです。
リンドグレーン？
カタリナ、黙っていてごめん。
Why is he apologizing? I blink in confusion while Set scoffs in irritation. Isn't Giorno there too? I'm guessing Giorno already knows by now.
認めたか。
Still, that doesn't mean anything to us yet. We don't know what that means.
ご覧ください、ジオルド王子。彼は海賊と手を組んで我がビンクルム号を襲ってきたのですよ。
My vinculum.
クイード公爵家であるリンドグレーン家は国王派筆頭です。彼らが汚い海賊と手を組み、私の顔を潰そうとしてきたんです。
Whatever, stain your good name. I think you did that when you captured a bunch of noblewomen. So, rank of Duke. So his father is the same rank as her father.
え？皇族家？ロジーが？
I look nervously at Rosie, who says nothing, continue to stare at Set in silence. Indifferent to my confusion, Set carries swiftly on with his accusations.
今回のビンクルム号の事業はクイード国でも注目度の高いものでした。それが失敗したとなれば私の面目も丸つぶれです。
He's gonna sit here and bellyache about how the pirates did him wrong, and a nobleman acted out with pirates and blah blah blah, and Joe's gonna be like, I don't care, give Catarina back.
そこを狙いに来たというわけですよ、クイード国王派は。ジオルド王子もご存知でしょう。我がクイード国では国王派と我が宰相派が派閥を争っていることは。無論私は争いは嫌いです。国王とも争わぬ道を模索してきましたがね、結局こうして国王は私の邪魔をしてきました。ですからジオルド王子、彼らの悪事を白日にさらし、共にクイードの国王を糾弾しましょう。
Like Jordan be on my side, but isn't the Quid like higher than a premier? So if the king wants something, I don't think anyone can go against the king. I don't think the premier has that high of power. And obviously you're kidnapping people, so why would anyone side with you? Jordan has been awfully quiet. I can't wait for him to like play into him. Zet takes a step forward and holds out his hand. However, Jordan only returns a disgusted glare.
大事な婚約者をさらっておきながら、そんなことを言われるとは思いませんでしたね。
That is like the perfect response. He was like, what? What is your nonsense? You're the one that kidnapped people. My dear fiance's kidnapper.
さらったなどと、それは誤解というものです。海賊どもから何を吹き込まれたのかは知りませんが、これはあくまで光の魔力保持者たちの保護。
That's not how that works. If you take someone against their will, it's kidnapping.
あなたは勘違いをしているようですが、僕たちはもうすでに彼らから話を聞いて全容を把握していますよ。あなたの都合の悪い部分も含めてね。
何の話ですかな？
ソルシエ貴族たちを集め、船を爆破、沈没させて、貴族たちを行方不明扱いにしてさらおうとしていた。
Yep, that seems obvious.
その首謀者があなただと知っていると言っているのですよ。
Kidnapping, exploiting, and sinking us.
ってそうなの？
It's such a shocking story that I can't help but turn to look at Set.
一国の王子ともあろう方が、そのような海賊崩れの言うことを信じるというのですか？
あなたこそ奇妙なことをおっしゃいますね、宰相。あなたがおっしゃったのですよ。私が海賊ではなくロジオン・リンド・グレーンであると。
He's very proud of that statement.
海賊崩れ？とんでもない。彼らは我がリンド・グレーン家の私兵団ですよ。
I knew it.
海賊なんてどこにもいない。
I knew it. I knew they were actual pirates. They were under his explicit command, so. What?
ということですので。
おのり、こうなったらフレデリック、やれ！
Do it. Be the bad guy. Oh.
シルバー！ああ、わかってる。
So they're all under his house. I wonder if they're all nobles or if they're just like some kind of elite guard or something. Frederick reaches for Maria, possibly to take her as hostage.
Maria!
Whoa. I don't even have time to react. In a flash, Silva is between Maria and Frederick.
人質には取らせないぜ。
Still curious about his glowing purple eye, though.
こしゃくな。
Wow. Silva was so fast I didn't even see his move. Frederick then unleashes a frenzy to swing, but Silva parries it with a composed ease. His eye shimmers like a violet spark.
こうなったら
Oh no, someone get him. Huh? Gonna take her. Preoccupied with Silva and Frederick's duel, I didn't notice Rao coming at me with a knife. Oh my goodness, but someone else comes between us. It's Rosie!
カタリナ
Like, don't touch her! It is Rosie who stands before me. He deflects Rao's knife with a single strike and then brings him down with a swift kick.
お前たち彼を捕獲しておけ。はっ
Seeing them like this now, it's like they tried really hard to dress as pirates and they kind of just failed. Like, I'm gonna tie a bandana around my arm, that makes me a pirate. The pirates, I mean, the Lindgren private troops quickly tie up the unconscious Rao with rope.
しかしロジオン様、こういったことは俺たちに任せてくださいといつも。
He's protecting someone precious to him. Leave him alone.
ごめん、カタリナが危ないと思ったらついね。それにこれは俺が幕を引かないといけない気がするんだよ。
Oh yeah? You had to be the one to end this, not her fiancé. Like Nicole would say.
次はあなたですね、最初。
Most like strong and powerful.
どこまでも邪魔しよって。
With Rosie standing between us, Set grits his teeth. His face is filled with bitterness.
そこな海賊に私の商船がやられることが妙に多かったのもお前の差し金だったということなのだな。おのれリンドグレーン、お前たちがいるから私は。
Oh my goodness. Whoa. That pulls out a gun from his pocket, pointing it directly at Rosie. Magic. Wait, is she? Oh, she's releasing her magic. Rosie is going to get shot the moment I realize that I released my magic. Earth bump.
いでよ土箱
That's funny. The sound effect's really funny. Set is unbalanced by the bump, and his shot flies past Rosie and into the sand.
よかった
Oh my goodness.
この小娘め、大して役にも立たぬ魔力のくせに私の邪魔をしよって。
Oh, whatever. It stopped you from shooting him. Oh, he's trying again. Oh my goodness. Set stands up, still shaking, and points his gun at me. Uh-oh. This is how I meet my doom end.
させない。カタリナ、大丈夫？
I cautiously open my eyes and squeeze shut to find Rosie standing with his back to me.
よかった。お願いだから無茶はしないで。
What happened to the bullet? Did it just shoot somewhere random?
一度フレデリックにやられたところを見られているからあまり格好がつかないけど、最初に負けるほど弱くはないから俺を信じて。
Rosie smiles gently at me before turning to Set, expression stern and sword drawn.
あなたならご存知ですよね。我がリンドグレーン家は文武の両面で国王の盾であり剣でもあることを。
Is he kind of like Nicole's family then?
最初あなたには観念してもらいます。
Rosie takes a step forward, closing distance. He's like waving his sword in front of him. Oh. Oh, he actually cut him. He's like, submit. I'm not going to give you time to answer. I'm just going to slash at you. Rosie's sword swiftly flashes by Set's arm, causing blood to gush from the wound. Though not quite as skillful as Silva's, Rosie's swordmanship is plenty graceful. Wow. But despite the wound, Set maintains his grip on the gun, taking a few shaky steps back again, puts his finger on the trigger. His aim, of course, is on Rosie. Don't shoot him, please! Oh my goodness.
お前たちはいつもそうだ。私の大事なものを奪い邪魔をして。
Maybe you should acquire your precious things by a less villain approach. In desperation, Set pulls the trigger, Rosie definitely sidesteps, and the bullet once more disperses into the sand. Rosie's sword grazes Set's body again, yet still he refuses to let go of the gun. His bloodshot eyes are wide open.
国王もだ。私がどれだけ尽くしたと、どれだけ私が働いてきたと思っている。それなのにリンドグレーン家のものばかり重用して。
Oh my gosh, he's going to persist until he's like killed. He continues to fire as he shouts, yet Rosie does not so much as flinch, continuing to close the distance.
それはあなたが道を踏み違えたからだ。いい加減それを認めるべきでしょう。
私は間違っていない。どうしていつもそうなのだ。メイセイもイライザも国王の信頼もすべてロベルトがリンドグレーンのやつらが奪っていく。
Aww. Is Eliza his wife? It sounds like it. Or someone really dear to him. Roberto must be Rosie's father.
だから奪われる前に私のものにするのだ。その何がいけない。間違っている。
Because you're stealing it. Stealing is wrong.
実際に国を動かしていくのは発明からじゃない。政治家だ。それだというのにどいつもこいつもお前たちばかり。私はこれだけ国のために尽くしてやってきたのに、くそー
国のため尽くしてやってきた。見返りを求めた時点でそれは自分のためだ。
That is true.
そんなあなただから人の心が離れていくのがわからないんだろうな。
The way he's talking now, I like it so much. He's gone from just being like a silly little engineer guy who just is all carefree and stuff to someone of really high importance standing and talking serious. Rosie words are almost whispered. Set's gun is out of bullets, not a single one found their mark. Goodbye.
くそー。
Rosie knocks the gun from Set's hand and points the tip of his sword at his throat.
これで終わりです。セット・ノーディン宰相。
With the sword at his throat, a sweat can be seen visibly dripping down Set's forehead. Soon, he drops his arms as though losing the will to fight.
お前たち、宰相を捕らえろ。
はっ。
At Rosie's command, the private army soldiers take to immobilize Set. Thank goodness, Rosie doesn't seem hurt. That moment of relief is pierced by a cacophonious roar. What does that mean?
カッカ、お前たち、カッカから手を離せ。
Is he the one roaring? Frederick has turned this way and looks about to lunge at us, but
と、よそ見すんなよ。お前の相手は俺だろと。
I was. In the moment Frederick gets distracted by Set, Silva easily knocks him to the ground. The moment I think Frederick has jumped, the next I find him tied up on the ground.
貴様、よくも。
これでお前らはもうおしまいだ。悪いが、寝ててもらうぜ。
It's time to say goodnight. Oh my goodness. He's not taking it easy on him. He's like, off we go. Silva strikes him with a chopping motion, and Frederick goes limp where he lies. In the blink of an eye, Cedric, Set, and Ryle are all secured by soldiers.
彼らを船に連れて行け。
はっ。ロジオン・リンドグレーン。私を捕らえたからといってこれで全てが終わると思うなよ。
So we're gonna... Oh, that went away. we're gonna go do that scenario, and judging by the name of it, it sounds like it's gonna be it's gonna be Sets.
ロジオン
All right, what does Set have to say? What was taken? He's just
ロジオン・リンドグレーンあのロベルトの孫がまた私を阻むというのか
I was gonna say he's probably just gonna be belly aching this whole time about what was taken from him. It seems that I'm not far off. Roberto Lindgren. It was Rosian's Lindgren's grandfather, and the man I hated more than any other. My blood boils at the thought, hearing that his grandson was spying on my grand plan.
どこまで私をコケにすれば気が済むのだリンドグレーンの者どもが
Is this why he took pity on Frederick, because he was in the exact same situation? I clenched my teeth in frustration. Rosian Lindgren has captured me upon this ship. But this is not the end. I must not give up. I still have not taken back what they stole from me. I was born as the youngest child as one of the two most elevated ducal families of Quid, the other being the Lindgren family. Though the Norden family was famed for producing soldiers, I dreamed of invention. My family considered me a heretic. But that did not stop me from pursuing my dreams. Together with Roberto Lindgren, I studied under our teacher. I believed that I could become the most renowned inventor in Quid. No matter my efforts, Roberto was a step ahead. Our teacher and the public always praised Roberto. In time I grew to understand that I would never be as great as him. But though I understood it, I never could accept it. I pushed onward, believing that my hard work would produce deserved fruits. Nevertheless, the gap between Roberto and I only continued to increase. My inferiority became apparent. No one, not amongst family or the public at large, would grant me the acknowledgement I so desperately sought. But one day, something new cut through my foggy days.
まあ、花畑の中にいるみたいな素敵な香り。
It was as I was studying a certain perfume. I had been kicked out of the laboratory so as not to stuff up the room, and was working outdoors when a girl approached me. A friendly girl who called herself Eliza spoke to me in a voice like warm sunshine.
それは何をしているの？
人工的に香料を作る研究実験だ。素材の配合を変えてこれから持続性を見る。
人工的に香料を？季節が関係なく好きな時に好きなお花の香りを楽しめるようになるかもしれないってことかしら。それってとっても素敵なことね。素晴らしい研究だわ。
Eliza said with a flowering smile. She was the first person to take interest in my research. I had never seen anyone who smiled like that.
お前は何か好きなものはあるのか？
好きなもの？猫とか小さな動物は可愛くて好きだわ。
Can you imagine a room that smells like small cats and animals?
違う。もっとこういう花とかそういう匂いが再現できるような。
花だったらクレマチスかしら。花びらの曲線が優美だし香りも好きよ。
クレマチス。あれは一応毒花だぞ。そんなものが好きだなんて変わってるな。
え、嘘？そうなの？
That's funny. They're poisonous.
慌てすぎだろ。
At that time, I thought she might genuinely accept me, the strange girl who says she liked poisonous flowers. I was head over heels. I tried all I could to get close to her, and even succeeded, but...
ねえ、聞いてちょうだい。私ね、今度ロベルトと婚約をすることになったの。
Oh no. Eliza told me that one day. Roberto Lindgren, the man I hated and envied more than anyone else in the world, he took everything from me, including my first love. Listening to her talk of how wonderful he was, her sparkling eyes told me even more than her words. Though she never said it outright, I could tell easily enough that she was madly in love. I had no chance against him. I could never match him as an inventor. Finally accepting that, I gave up all my dreams of invention and became a civil official. No matter the fame of quitting invention, it is the politicians who truly run the kingdom. So long as I held the reins, I could make Roberto kneel before me. I could be the one to wield his might.
そうなればロベルトもイライザもノーディン家の者たちも私を認めざるを得ないはずだ。
Vengeful ambition welled within me. I became an undersecretary and then soon rose to become the youngest premier in the history of our nation. The power was mine. By utilizing the inventions, I could make the kingdom wealthy and strong. If I could accomplish that, my reputation would skyrocket not only within the kingdom but even amongst foreign nations. I was relieved to think I would finally be appreciated. My impatient ambition gradually faded to be replaced by rocky self-confidence. After I became the premier, I steadily built my rapport with the late king, who was the crown prince at the time, or so I thought. No. I was unmarried, and I thought of our relationship as almost that of father and son. However, both the brief moment of inner peace and belonging was robbed from me, as ever, by the damnable House of Lindgren. It all started when Layla, Roberto and Eliza's daughter, married into the royal family as the crown princess. Oh. Wait, what? So Rosie either has a mother or a aunt that married into the royal family.
くそ、どうしてこうなったんだ。
I knew the Lindgrens had always been close to the royal family. However, I had pulled the strings to keep the crown prince away from Ryan, heir to the Lindgren family and Roberto's son. I'm trying to grasp my head around this family tree going on here. Okay, so Ryan is heir to the Lindgren family, and Layla, his sister, is married into the royal family. But this sudden marriage allowed Ryan, who loved his sister Layla, to visit the palace frequently. And so the two quickly grew to trust one another. As true family, they grew far closer than I. It was not long before the crown prince began to turn to Ryan first and put me, the premier, on second call. And nothing changed after the prince succeeded the throne. He would ever reject my ideas in favor of Ryan's. I desperately argued despite that, for I was convinced the king yet trusted me.
陛下、なぜそのようにおっしゃるのですか。技術研究開発に力を入れて成果が出れば軍事転用してより国を大きくできる発明が生まれる可能性があります。他国を圧倒することで得られる名声と豊かさはある。そのための犠牲ならさまつなものでしょう。人材は国のものです。国のために尽くさせることに何の通用を覚える必要があるのですか。
Not every king believes that his people are just fodder for his own reign. I was convinced that my argument was correct. I believed it with all my heart. However, the king just smiled at me with pity.
国を発展させてきた発明は人があってこそのもの。技術で得られた豊かさは国民に還元していくべきだ。国の豊かさは心の豊かさなんだよ、セット。どうしてお前にはそれがわからないんだ。
王こそなぜ私の考えを理解してくださらないのか。軟弱な。
This petty nonsense could never befit the country. I was convinced that it was my duty as premier to teach the immature king. There was something wrong with the way he valued technology and invention. I intended to correct that, but the king chose Roberto's son, Ryan Lindgren, as advisor over me.
私の方がずっと以前から王の傍らで支えてきたというのに。
Well, when your supporter is like twisted-minded, I mean, it's only natural, right? Once more, the Lindgrens took what was mine. Why did this always happen? What was so special about Roberto's son? How could the king trust him over me? I was disappointed and furious. Those emotions swirled as one became an entrapping maelstrom. My dreams of invention, the woman I loved, my position as the king's right hand. All that I desired was robbed from me by those hideous, abominable Lindgrens.
いつか絶対に見返してやる。 復讐してやる。リンドグレーンにも王家にも。
If they refuse to accept me, I will force them to their knees. If only if you will do so, I will eliminate the rest. I will burn the monarchy and the Lingrens to ashes and stand upon the remains. Oh my goodness. This time I will take what they stole from my hands. I will force the whole world to accept me. That doesn't work when you have, like, Frederick. It's just one man. You have to build a whole army of loyalists to you. Then no one will take anything from me ever again. I thought it was ending soon, that's why I went on a little rant there. Zet glares desperately at Rosie as he is being dragged away. It's finally over. What's going on? The moment I relax, my body turns limp. Oh my goodness, she's like dizzy. And I collapse into a crouch, head throbbing. The headache's back. It seems like all the adrenaline had made me numb to the pain. Now that things aren't so tense, it returns with a vengeance.
Catarina!
I feel something warm on my back, and I realize that Rosie is hugging me. Oh my goodness. He does not care whatsoever that her fiancé is watching, or the prince of Sorcier is watching.
よかった。よかった、無事で。
Rosie sounds close to tears. He hugs me tightly as if to be sure I am unharmed. Rosie's warmth slowly warms my shivering body, chilled by the ocean breeze. Being here in his arms, it finally hits home that we've been rescued. Thank goodness. Rosie is safe. Giordo, Keith, and everyone.
あれキーズ大丈夫すごく険しい顔をしてるけど具合が悪いの
No, he's scowling at his rival. Sorry, I'm still in the feeling of if this would happen to me and I barely knew him, he's acting like they haven't been separated for the last 8 years and being very familiar with her just like everyone else would. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that it's sweet and all. Like, I would feel strange if it was me in her situation. She didn't even remember that he existed. Like, after that encounter, like, he was gone from her memory, so she's got like 4 days or whatever to like develop all these feelings for him. It doesn't look like she has developed any of them yet because she's not even realizing how close she is to him.
いや、具合が悪いわけじゃないから。別のことが原因だから。
If only it were. Looking around, I found that for some reason the others are scowling too. I hear Rosie gasp. Maybe he knows why.
あ、ごめん。つい俺。
He's like, oh right, I just did that. Rosie then nervously pulls himself away. He was so warm, I wanted to feel it for a little longer. Then suddenly I feel a sharp pain in my chest.
いったたた
カタリナ、大丈夫？
もしかして具合が悪いのですか？
なんだか頭が痛くて。
4人とも顔色が悪いね。もしかしてサシェと似た匂いを嗅がされたりした？
サシェと似た匂い？それならセット様が小屋の中で炊いてたけど。
そうか。きっと多分それが原因だと思う。あれは宰相が作ったもので、体調不良を引き起こすための薬剤が混ぜられていたみたいだから。
え？サシェに？
うん。あの船では体調不良者が多かったから繊維と一緒に調べていたんだけど、どうやらサシェが原因らしいって分かったんだ。でも安心して、副作用はないらしいし、ハーブティーを飲めば症状が緩和されるって分かったから。じゃあ俺は先に行ってハーブティーの用意をするよう伝えるから。
待ってください。それより先にお話ししたいことがあります。
Right, as Rosie was about to depart, Maria stands up, still white in the face.
セット様はマルコルーム場で誰かと連絡を取っているようでした。おそらく仲間がいるのだと思います。
マルコルームバを。
Oh right, he did do that.
それにさっきのセリフ、セット様たちはまだ何かことを起こそうと動いているかもしれません。
そっか。わかった。情報ありがとう。
So I'm wondering, is Rosie the son of Ryan? Or is he the son of Layla? If he's the son of Layla, he does have royal blood in him.
でもとにかく今の君たちには休養が必要だ。ひとまず船に移動しよ
We leave the deserted island and board the ship that brought Rosie here. We stand on board the Lingam ship Sigrid, formerly known as the Waste Pirate ship. I thought that was their ship. Currently we are in Quidian waters, making for a port in the kingdom of Quid to hand over to Premier and the other prisoners.
それで
I'm drinking herbal tea, which is supposed to help with the effects of the incense, and trying to organize everything in my mind.
つまりシルバもロジーもロジオン様って言わなきゃダメか。
う。いや、俺のことは今まで通りロジーでいいよ。
He's got his noble clothes on now. You don't have to hide no more.
でも
I think I heard earlier that he was Rosie and Lingrid, family to one of the Dukes of Quid. A Duke of Quid is not someone I could speak without proper etiquette.
君にはそう呼ばれたいから、今まで通りロジーって呼んでもらえないかな。
Look, that would make him so happy if you just called him Rosie.
わかったわ、ロジー。まあ、ずるいですわ。彼ばかり愛称で呼ぶだなんて。
I was just thinking that. I'm like, Rosie, huh? Sure, call me by a nickname. That would be nice. And nicknames are... And calling someone by a nickname in Japan is certainly a big deal. Even more a big deal than calling someone by their first name. I don't get Jiro. He is not happy.
少々距離の詰め方が早いように感じますが。
Mary and Jiro are chatting, but I need to focus on what Rosie said earlier on the beach.
それでロジーはクイードの国王様の命令で動いていたってこと？
When I ask once more, Rosie nods firmly.
うん。実はそうだったんだ。ごめん。黙っていて。もともとクイードでは宰相派と国王派に分かれての派閥争いが激しかったから、常に宰相の動向には気をつけていたんだけど、そんな時にとあるつてから宰相がビンクルム号を使ってソルシエの貴族たちをさらうつもりだという情報をつかんでね。それで俺たちは宰相たちの企みを止めるために身分を隠してこの船に乗り込んだんだ。
なるほど。それで最初は国王派の横やりがどうとか言ってたのね。国王派の横やり？そんなお話されていました？ああ、うん。無人島に着く前、メアリたちが目を覚ます前にブツブツ言ってたから気になってたんだけど。
無人島に着く前ってマルコルムバを飛ばす前？
そうだけど。
となると俺たちの動きはあちらに伝わっているってことか。急いだ方がいいな。
I did think that Set looked like a villain, but it turns out he really is one. I'd rather not think about what he's going to do with all the people he planned to kidnap.
で、まあ俺らはその企みを阻止するためにビンクルム号を襲って宰相らを拘束しといたんだが、途中で逃げ出されてな。
それで急いで探してたんだけど、先に爆発で騒ぎを起こされてあんなことになっちゃったんだ。
Speaking of which, things were really tense for a few days before that explosion. I distinctly recall the overspiced breakfast that gave me indigestion.
でもこの船に乗っているのも全員リンドグレーン家の紙兵たちで海賊じゃないから、もう安心して。
For the cook and everything?
シルバも海賊の船長じゃない。うちの紙兵団団長だよ。ほら、ちゃんと挨拶して。
That explains why the nurse almost called him Lord Rosie. If the entire Quidian staff was all loyal to him.
はあ、お前と違って俺のことは適当でいい気がするけどな。リンドグレーン家の紙兵団をまとめてるシルバ・バスティートだ。以後よろしくな。
Silva reluctantly introduces himself at Rosie's urging.
まあ、つまりこのバイス海賊団も実際はリンドグレーン家の紙兵で、ソルシエ貴族の保護を第一目的に動いてたってわけだ。
I had a feeling that even from the beginning, they were capturing them to protect them. Maybe I didn't quite understand Giorno's route. I thought they were turning them over to someone, but I thought that someone was someone important, like the royal family of Quid or Sorcier or something like that.
それで王族や高位の貴族である王子様らを優先的に見張って護衛してたんだよ。それと奴らの大本命、希少な光の魔力保持者もな。
その割には随分と手荒な真似だったとは思いますけれど。
そう怒るなよ。まあ確かにやり方は荒っぽかったかもしれねえけどな。
怖がらせちゃってごめんね。どうしても宰相たちから守るためには部屋でおとなしくしていてもらいたくて。
ま、実際のところお前らを傷つけるつもりは毛頭なかったが、変な気を起こされても困るからな。俺らも脅しにかかってたってわけだ。
Makes sense.
なるほど。それで銃とか使ってあんな派手に襲ってきたのね。
Guns blazing. It also explains why he seemed to have so much time to drop by despite being a pirate captain.
これで宰相派の企みは阻止できたとは思うけれど、でもまさかあんな風に部屋にサシェを配置して体調不良を引き起こすような真似をするとは思っていなかったけどね。具合はどう？もう頭痛は収まった？
あ、そういえばだいぶ楽になったかも。ハーブティーのおかげかな。マリアたちはどう？はい、私もおかげで楽になりました。
ええ、私も。でも残念です。あんなに素敵なサシェがそんな効能を持っていただなんて。
しかもあれってセット様が作ったのよね。なんだか意外だけど。
クイードでは役職を持っている貴族でも趣味で発明や研究に取り組む人が結構多いからね。
Speaking of which, Sed did say that he used to invent when he was young. If he's able to make lovely products like this, he should have just sold them instead of resorting to dirty deeds. If he just joined hands with Ryle to sell that sachet, it could have been a huge hit. After making so many people sick, though, that probably isn't possible anymore.
で、あれ、ビンクルム号は？爆発は大丈夫だったの？
I had completely forgotten about it, but last I remembered it was on fire. When I asked nervously, Rosie nods sheepishly.
あは、うん。幸いなことに沈まなかったし、重傷を負うような怪我人は一人も出なかったよ。
Thank goodness.
損傷も出たんだけれど、後悔できないほどじゃないから、ソルシエに戻っているはずだよ。
つまり今回のビンクルム号での事件は、表向きは海賊に襲われたものの無事に帰れたとなるわけです。
じゃあなんでジオルド様たちはそんなに険しい顔をしているんですか？
カタリナは気にしなくても大丈夫ですよ。
ああ、少し思うところがあるだけだ。
なるほど。でもほっとしました。乗客のみんなが無事に助かったって分かって。
確かにカタリナの言う通りですね。
ま、それはそうだな。
Huh? Did he say something weird? It's odd to see everyone acting this way. Even Rosie is looking away bitterly.
ごめんね。
なんでロジーが謝るの？
君をずっと騙していたから、本当にごめんね。
いやいや、でもロジーは悪意があって嘘をついていたわけじゃないもの。そんなに気にしないで。
カタリナ。
ほんとカタリナは相変わらずだな。だがロジオン、まだ油断してる場合じゃねえぞ。あっちの部屋で一応締め上げたが、最小のやつも口を割らね
え。Interrogate.
マルコルームバーを飛ばしてる以上、クイード本土の方が気がかりだ。だからちょいと船を急がせるぞ。
わかった。頼むよ、シルバ
ー。おう。
Silva waves his hand as he walks away. The conversation concludes there. We all head to our own rooms to rest. That's a cute little room. Sit down on a chair in the room assigned to me and feel my fatigue rush forth all at once. That was exhausting. The herbal tea has eased my headache, but that does nothing for the exhaustion I accumulated over my days in that hut.
カタリナ、少しいいかな。
By days, I think it was just 2 days, right?
ロジー？大丈夫だけど。
The door opens and the smell of something delicious comes wafting through the air.
食事を持ってきたんだ。食べられる？
So they're not keeping all the girls together. She gets her own private room. How convenient. Food. Now that I think about it, I haven't had anything to eat since I woke up this morning. The moment I smell food, my stomach announces its opinions on the matter. I hear Rosie giggle in response.
ちょうどよかったみたいだね。
I get the feeling that Rosie's become well acquainted with the sound of my stomach. Yeah, that's true. I feel embarrassed as a noblewoman. He will think my stomach is always growling. But I can't help it. So much has happened today. I console myself internally and my attention to the meal before me.
いただきます。
I think I read that wrong, but it's fine. The seasoning is different from our meals on the vinculum, but the bread and soup are delicious and really hit the spot.
おいしい。
口に合ってよかった。
Rosie's smile vanishes, his expression suddenly darkening. Oh no. I wonder why, but can't stop to ask as I continue to shuffle food into my mouth. As I pick over the last morsels, Rosie sighs and bows deeply.
カタリナ、いろいろと隠し事をしていて本当にごめん。
Oh, he has such a big heart that it's still agonizing him that he still did her wrong.
いや、それならさっきも聞いたけど。
でも俺、カタリナだけには嘘をつきたくなかったんだ。それなのにずっと騙していて。海賊に襲われたってずっと思わせていたんだ。その上、うちの兵士の教育が行き届かなくて怖い目にも遭わせたし。
怖い目？
見張りに立っていた兵士が酔って君に絡んだことがあっただろう。
Oh yeah, someone under Duke's son's command assaulted her. Oh.
まさかうちの兵士が任務中に飲酒をするなんて思わなくてさ。それで翌日叱りつけていたら、そこもカタリナに見られちゃったから。騙していただけじゃなくて、たくさん怖い思いをさせたって、すごく申し訳なく思っているんだ。
Right, that did happen, huh? I didn't think Rosie was bothered by it. So many crazy things have happened since, I completely forgot.
でも私はロジーに感謝してるわ。たくさん面倒を見てもらってるし、今回だって助けてもらったもの。だから今回だってむしろ私がお礼を言うべきだって思ってるし、ロジーが謝ることなんて何もないわ。
He's gonna be too stubborn to accept that though.
それに本当にもうこれで隠し事はないんでしょ？クイード王国での事情があったって分かったし、私は何も気にしないから。
I raise a clenched fist to reassure him that everything is all right, and he smiles, seemingly on the verge of tears. Oh, poor guy.
カタリナ、ありがとう。でも実はもう一つ訂正させてほしい嘘があるんだ。というか、本当はこっちが本題で。
Judging by the way that trails off, we're not gonna learn it, huh? What could it be? I think it's Silva. Confused, I stare at him blankly. After a moment, Rosie begins to speak.
その、
Oh.
カタリナと出会った場所、王立公園だって言ったけど、本当は王城だったんだ。
ほう。
でもあそこでソルシエの王城だと言ったら、どうして海賊風情が王城に入り込めたんだって話になるでしょ。
Well, that actually makes sense. If he would have said it right then, yeah, Giorno would have been like, what? How did a pirate get into the palace?
だからどうしてもあの場ではごまかすしかなくて。ごめんね。
Uh-huh, is that it?
実は俺、あの日王城で出会った女の子に、君にずっとお礼を言いたかったんだ。
Oh, that's cute.
でもあの後すぐ国の情勢が急変して、君にもう一度会う前に帰国しなきゃいけなくなって、ずっと君と再会したいと思っていた。だからビンクルム号で君を見かけて本当に驚いたよ。
そうだったんだ。でもよく気がついたわね。
それは気づくよ。カタリナにはまた会いたいってずっと思っていたんだ。見間違えるはずなんてない。
It's really cute how he's been hanging on to this wish for 8 years, just wanting to meet her again. Of course, I would never mistake you for another.
でも、そうしてせっかく再会できたのに、立場を偽って君と接することになって、後ろめたく思っていたんだ。だから償いをしたかった。何でもいい。君が望むことをしたかったんだ。でもこれでようやく言えるよ。俺が君に言いたかったこと。
Are we gonna get a confession in chapter 5? Please. Oh, it's going to his point of view. Catarina stares blankly at me, completely oblivious to the intention behind my words. It makes me smile a little.
カタリナはやっぱり覚えてないかな。彼女はまだ幼かったし、もう8年も前のことだから。
But I remember it like it was yesterday. That's why I came to her tonight, to tell her what the encounter meant to me. Her words saved me. That's a cool house. It's all green. This is not even a memory scenario yet, and we still have one of those left. Kingdom of Quid, Lindgren Manor. When I was young, I was a precocious child, always locked away in the workshop.
ロジオン、発明は人のためにあるべきというリンドグレーン家の家訓は決して忘れるんじゃないぞ。
I guess he still lives at the mansion and all. It's not possible that Layla could have been his mother, especially since his father is right here in the mansion, so it must be Ryan.
はい、父さん。
Inventions are for the sake of others. I was born into a house held into lofty expectations. Fortunately, be it due to my bloodline or my own creative talent, there wasn't much I couldn't do. I lived my life according to those words. I thoughtlessly followed those expectations without any sense of self or desire.
ロジオンはすごいな。この年でもこんなものを作ったのか。
他にもそうね、懐中時計がもう少し小さくなると助かるのだけれど、そういうのは作れないかしら。
ああ、いいね。小型の懐中時計を持っていれば社交界の注目の的だ。ロジオン、できるかい？
はい、やってみます。
I hated conflict. If I remained obedient, I wouldn't cause any problems. I was a machine that only responded yes. I thought that was fine. I'm quite sure I did.
あれ？
But when I entered early adolescence, I suddenly found myself unable to invent. Even sequestered in the workshop, I couldn't make a thing. I was like an empty shell. I became lost in nebulous worries. Was it really right to give up my life to the family business like this? Was my only lot in life to act out my role as the Duke's heir? There was nothing to doubt. I convinced myself there was nothing to doubt. After all, inventions were for the sake of others. Days passed uneventfully, but inside, my sense of self was distorting. That division rendered me unable to create. I didn't understand why I was doing it. Never had I considered what it was that I wanted. What did I want to do? How did I want to live? What does it even mean to want to make something? I remained stuck. Then one day...
ロジオン、遊学をしてみないか？
留学ですか？
ああ、今のお前にはゆっくり自分と向き合う時間が必要だろう。確かに発明は人のためにあるべきだ。だがそのためには発明家として忘れてはならないことがある。しかしそれは人から教わるようなものではない。自ら知り学びなさい。
After my father told me that, I left the kingdom of Quid to study abroad. By experiencing the vast world beyond our borders, I started to regain the energy to create. Though I still could not find a purpose. I used the tinkering as a diversion while I continued to search for an answer.
どうして俺は作っているんだろう。誰も喜ぶ人はいないし、そもそも求められていないのに。好きだから？リンドグレーンの人間だから？どうして俺は物を作るんだろう。
And it's all because Catarina's going to appreciate your gummies that you're like, I have discovered the will to create.
どうして発明をしていたんだっけ。俺がしたいことって何なんだろう。
Also, if he's like an adolescent now and he meets an 8-year-old girl, what does that make him, like 12, 13? He's like much older than her. I continued to journey, but without a reason. I remained unfulfilled. And then one day I was invited to the royal palace of the kingdom of Sorcier. That is where I met Catarina.
Huh?
I heard a stomach growling and looked up to find a small girl in branches of a tree.
見たところ一応どこかのご令嬢みたいだけど。
I've never heard of any noble and quid climbing trees. I was dumbfounded at first, then I noticed how nervous she looked, apparently aware of the inappropriateness of her actions. I felt a bit sorry for her and approached the tree, feigning nonchalance.
そんなところに登ってどうしたの？
お父様とはぐれてしまって、木に登れば見つかるかもと思ったのですが。
Then I heard her stomach growl louder. Her forlorn expression added more to my growing pity.
こんなに幼い子が父親とはぐれた上に木の上でお腹を空かせているなんて。
Oh, I remember that I had the candy I made earlier.
貴族の令嬢は喜ばないかもしれないけれど。
But she looked so hungry, I couldn't bear to just leave her like that. I didn't know if she would accept something I made, but she would have remained hungry if I did nothing.
今は余計なこと考えてる場合じゃないよな。
I shook away those thoughts and smiled in an attempt to calm her.
お腹が空いてるの？じゃあ、お菓子とか食べる？
お菓子を持っているんですか？
うん。君が気に入るかはわからないけど。
I nodded hesitantly. She must have been desperate as she leaned over to see despite being balanced in the tree's branches. It looked so dangerous I instinctively waved my hands at her.
待ってて、今そっちに行くから。
I put one foot on the tree branch and tried to push myself up. I found tree climbing was much more difficult than I thought. I wondered about how she was able to climb so high as I slowly made my way up to her. But when I did... The view from atop the tree was more beautiful than I could have imagined.
すごい。
I was enthralled by the view from the tree. For a brief moment, all my worries flew away in the wind. The breeze felt cool and crisp against my sweaty skin, and a smile came naturally. And then I realized it. For the first time in a long time, I made my own decision. All this time, I had never considered where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do. Sitting beside her, I took out a little box from my pocket.
よかったらこれを食べて。
Inside was some candy that I had made when a relative requested I make something unique for a tea party. But because of the unusual texture, they had not liked it at all. I wondered what she might think of it. I nervously showed her the candy and her eyes lit up.
宝石みたいで綺麗。食べていいんですか？
うん、どうぞ。お腹が減っているんでしょ。
She took a piece of candy and threw it into her mouth, her eyes widened, glittering brightly. He doesn't look much older than her, but he says he entered his adolescence and he called her a young child, so he's gotta be like 12. Her eyes were as clear as blue sky overhead and shone like jewels. That beamy smile lit a spark somewhere deep inside my heart.
もっと食べていいですか？
うん、もちろんだよ。
ありがとうございます。おいしい。
She smiled innocently as she continued to snack. To think someone could be so overjoyed with something I made. For some reason, the backs of my eyes felt hot.
そうか。
That was all there was to it. When I was obligated to do so, what I wanted for myself, none of that ever mattered. I simply...
俺はきっと誰かに喜んでもらいたかっただけなんだ。
Oh, that's cute. He just wants people to be happy with what he makes. And so I continued to invent. I did want to live up to expectations, but now I had a sense of purpose as well.
心から喜んでもらえることが俺の喜びだったんだ。その手段が 俺の場合は発明だったんだ。
It was so obvious, yet I failed to realize it all this time. Mechanically, habitually, inventing had led me to abandon my own emotions. But after searching far and wide, I finally found it, the thing that an inventor must never forget.
あの日の君の笑顔がなかったら、きっと今の俺はいなかったんだ。だからずっとお礼が言いたかった。
そうだったんだ。
Listening to Rosie's story, I'm nothing short of surprised. But I really didn't do all that much. To me, Rosie had been a big help because I was hungry. I had no idea it had been so important to him.
君がいたから、あの日があったから、俺は大事なことに気づけたし、世界が広がって大切に思う人も増えたよ。だからあれから何年も時間が経っちゃったけど、あの時は本当にありがとう、カタリナ。
That's cute. Seriously, I didn't do anything special, but Rosie looked so happy while thanking me. I nodded, thinking the best course of action is to simply accept it.
こちらこそ、あの時はグミをくれてありがとう、ロジー。ロジーの力になれたかどうかはいまいち実感がないけど、ロジーの力になれていたならそれは嬉しいわ。
うん。
Right now, it feels like they're really starting to connect because they're tying their past together. Before, when he was like advancing on her and like doting over her, she didn't even know who he was. So I feel like all of that was kind of pointless because she was just very confused by all of it. And now she can understand and sympathize with it and connect to it. So, but now we're in chapter 5 and there's only 2 more chapters left. So now she's got to develop on those feelings from here. His cheerful smile radiates softly, illuminating the room like a warm candlelight. Memory scenario. Angel in my heart. Long ago, I met an odd tree-climbing girl. We parted ways after she found her father, and I continued my absent-minded wandering through the royal courtyard.
さっきの子、すごい女の子だったな。
She looked so lonely, hungry in the branches of the tree. Her explosive smile when she ate my sweets was burned into my mind. She smiled so innocently and earnestly enjoyed my invention. It was a foreign feeling. Not only was I shocked to meet a noble girl climbing trees, but I chose to climb the tree up to her. Everything had felt so new. The time I spent with her was surprise after surprise. It was comforting, and more importantly, inspiring. My flushed cheeks cooled against the wind as I returned to the royal palace. As I headed for the guest room,
ロジオン様。
I heard a voice and turned to find a boy with blonde hair walking briskly toward me. At least he met him in the palace, so Jordo's acquainted with him too.
よかった。探していたんです。
It was Prince Jordo's steward, the third prince of Sorcier.
そういえばさっきの子も同じくらいの年かな。確かジオルド様は8歳になったばかりだったと思ったけれど。
Hovering behind the prince was his twin brother, Prince Alan. Perhaps he was a bit shy. He had a sullen look on his face and kept a half pace behind his brother.
父上から聞きました。あの機械式置き時計のオルゴールを直していただいたようで、ありがとうございます。 俺からも礼を言う。
The twin princes gave me their gratitude. The music box they mentioned was part of an old standing clock I had fixed earlier that day. Quid is a nation of inventions, and the Lingrins are known for their inventors. While visiting a noble from an ally nation, a member of the royal family mentioned their troubles with the clock. They referred it to the Lingrins of Quid, so I came thinking it might be nice to visit Sorcier. Upon inspecting it, I was rather worried whether it would be impossible to fix it due to its age, but I somehow managed with the tools on hand. I was relieved I would not embarrass the noble who had mediated for us, but I never expected to receive thanks from the princes themselves. What surprised me even more was hearing that they were searching for me.
いえ、殿下方にそのように言っていただくなど恐縮です。もしかしてそれを伝えるためにわざわざ私を探してくれていたのですか？
はい、実はずっとあの時計を直したいと思っていたのですが、国内の技術者には機構が複雑すぎるとさじを投げられ困っていたんです。特に僕の婚約者があの時計を見た時にオルゴールが壊れていて聞くことができないのをひどく残念がっていたので、ですのでこのタイミングでいらしてくださり、あの機械式置き時計のオルゴールを直していただけてとても感謝しているんです。
This Prince Giorda seemed much more genuine than the one I had met at the king's side. His childish smile befits someone of his young age. It was a bright smile and reminded me of the girl from earlier. As a result, I ended up mirroring it too.
めっそうもないことです。ですが、お力になれたようでしたら喜ばしいことです。
I took a bow, following proper etiquette, but Prince Giorda appeared surprised.
どうかされましたか？
いえ、最初にお会いした時と雰囲気が違うような気がしたので。
雰囲気が？
はい、何と言えばいいのでしょう。つきものが落ちたような様子と言いますか。何かいいことがあったのですか？
Is he gonna say I met a tree climbing girl that happens to be your fiance? I have intended to keep up a facade since meeting the princes, largely for the sake of maintaining proper etiquette. But that is not what he meant. Before I met that girl, I was lost in a gloomy fog. I had lost my reason to create, even as I introduced myself as Rosie and Linguid of Quid, the great nation of inventions. I felt the words weigh upon my heart. I maintained my composure, only out of feeling of duty. But this observant young prince seemed to have seen right through me.
でも、その顔が変わって見えるのか。
He was right to guess that a weight had been removed from my shoulders, and the reason for that could only be that girl. But I was not yet prepared to speak candidly about the encounter. I wanted to keep my own secret, so I placed my finger over my lips.
そうですね。天使と会いました。
That's really cute.
天使と？
Prince Giorda looked briefly surprised, but realizing something, stared into my eyes and responded earnestly.
そうでしたか。それは良かったです。
That's so cute. His smile was mature beyond age. He had no intention of being treated like a child, and was perceptive for an 8-year-old. As for Prince Alan, still standing a little ways back, he looked suspicious.
天使？
His doubt was written across his face.
けど、実際俺にとっては天使のような子だったし、間違った表現ではないはずだよな。
She appeared before me suddenly and gave color to my gray world. She blew away my fog of worries.
彼女にまた会えるといいんだけど。
How nice would it be? I wanted to express my gratitude to her properly. That was when I realized I had not thought to ask her name. But I remembered her features, and seeing she was at the royal palace was clearly from a family of status. It was my fault for not asking her directly, but it seemed easy to investigate. I made another salutation to the princes and returned to my guest room in the palace. It was not long after that I learned that the angel was in fact Prince Giordo's own fiancée. I would encounter her again much later, and I would fall in love with her then too. Aww, that's so cute. So he says that he kind of fell in love with her then, and now meeting her on the ship, he's fallen all over again for her. It's adorable. I am happy, but also confused. Another emotion stirs in my heart. The spoon slips from my fingers.
カタリナ、大丈夫？
いや、なんかうっかり。
Like you're just staring at me with that smile and that red face. I can't help but blush at you. I go to pick it up, but Rosie slips past me and sets the spoon away.
片付けは俺がやっておくから。それよりもしかしてまだ体調が悪いんじゃない？
いや、それは。
やっぱり心配だ。薬品を嗅がされていたわけだし、そろそろ眠った方がいいんじゃないかな。 その方がいいよ。ほら、ベッドに移動して。自分で歩ける？俺が運ぼうか？
Do you need me to carry you? Rosie approaches to pick me up, so I quickly stand up instead.
大丈夫大丈夫。ベッドへは自分で行けるから。
That's funny. I want to say I'm finding the way, but that would probably just worry him more. Well, it's not like I could tell him I slept like a log last night. I'm not about to complain about being given permission to laze around. I lie in bed and Rosie texts me in.
おやすみ、カタリナ。
Rosie smiles gently and pats me on the head. Feeling embarrassed by his care and constant concern, I close my eyes. Oh, I was hoping something else would happen, but that's fine, it's whatever. It's her forehead or something.
ようやく言いたいことが言えたようでよかったな。
After ascertaining that Catarina is asleep, I return to deck to find Silva waiting for me.
そうだね。でも、盗み聞きはどうかと思うけど。
仕方ねえだろ。なかなか戻ってこねえから、どうしたのかと思ってな。
He's like, oh, excuse me.
ま、シルバになら聞かれてもいいけどさ。
Aw, that's cute. Silva's like his best friend.
あの過保護な王子様らには聞かれちゃやばそうだからな。気をつけとけよ。
He smiles wryly as he pats me on the shoulder. It is true that if Prince Giordo and the others heard me, they would never let me near Catarina again. That is just how beloved she is. I thought I knew that, but I did not truly understand until I stepped aboard the vinculum.
きっと、彼らも俺と同じように、カタリナのあの笑顔に救われ、惹かれたんだろうな。
It is so obvious, I am forced to smile. It seems that I will have stiff competition.
もちろん、それで引くつもりはないけれど。
He has no problem stealing away his fiancée.
なあ、一度聞いてみたかったんだが。
ん？
もしカタリナ・クラエスと出会ってなかったら、あの時のお前の選択は違ってたか？
Another mystery we gotta think about. Back then, he could only mean that. A certain place at a certain time. I'm sure Silva is thinking of that same scene. Where the two of us first met, the alley. Oh, get to know. Yay! After returning home from Sorcière, I was separated from my guards during an inspection, and got into trouble with some hoodlums.
おい、あんた金持ってるんだろ。ほら出せよ。
俺たちはかわいそうな身の上なのよ。お貴族様ならやるべきこと分かってるんだろ。え
I was unarmed, caught off guard, as I was traveling with a security detail. I had no weapons, and I doubted that a 15-year-old would be able to defeat a whole group of large adults. 15? Wow. But is this right after he returned, or is this like a year or so after he returned? Because he's much older than her. I froze up, wondering what to do. Then I had noticed a flash of violet light.
Huh?
Before I could blink, those men who were harassing me were sprawled on the ground. A black-haired boy with shining violet eyes trounced them in a heartbeat.
どいつもこいつも。
After a moment, the boy tottered dizzily and fell to the ground as well.
くそ。
Inching closer, it was clear the boy was in bad shape. He was terribly thin, covered in cuts and bruises, and obviously haggard. His appearance told me that he had no home to return to. If I left him, he may well die. But he saved my life. I owed him the same.
大丈夫？
And I cautiously reached out to him. His head jerked towards me. His violet eyes lost their glimmer, fading back to blue. I could see that they were filled with disgust. I heard footsteps behind him. Or behind me.
様
Behind him. Rosie.
よかった。ロジオン様ご無事で。そのものは一体。
ああ、そこに倒れている男たちに絡まれていたところ、この少年に助けられたんだ。できれば礼をするために我が家へ招待したいんだが。
このものをですか？
The guards frowned when they heard what I said. His haggard appearance had put them off. The guard stood between me and the boy.
この者たちはこちらで処理をいたしますので、ロジオン様はどうかお戻りを。
Deal with things. Something about that had not sounded right. Were they really going to properly thank this boy? The obvious answer was no. They likely figured it was nothing but trouble and intended to hand the boy over to authorities with the hoodlums. The new king had only just taken the throne, and the crown still rested on shaky ground. As their duke's heir, I knew I should listen to the guards. Of course I did.
けど、俺が今彼を見捨てれば、彼はこれから先どうなる？
I did not know his exact circumstances, but I could make an educated guess. I knew I could not save every suffering child, but at least I had enough power to extend a hand to the boy before me.
そこで自分は目をつぶるのか、自分の心の声に蓋をするのか。
I looked down at the boy staring at me. His pale blue eyes reminded me of hers. Aww. A hungry girl with eyes like the summer sky. I wanted to stand with my head held proud the next time I met her. Even if only to satisfy my own arrogance, if I could be of help to someone, I would not hold back. Even if his eyes were filled with disgust, it did not change the fact that he saved me. If he was in need of help, and if he would take my hand, I would take responsibility. That is why.
私はこの子に助けられたんだ。その恩人が困っているのなら、私が助けるのは人として当然のことだろう。それを止めようとするなら、それは私に自分の意志を捨てろと、人形になれと言ってるも同じだ。
Oh, Silva's so cute, even as a little ragged boy. I pushed aside the guards and held my hand out to the boy. He stared at my hand and then...
それでここまで頼もしく育つんだもんな。
At first he was angry and rebellious, but now he's become a brother to me. I extended my hand back then, and he took it. We are here today only because of what happened then.
逆に聞くけど、もしもあの時俺の選択が違っていたら、手を差し伸べるのをやめていたらどうしてた？
質問で返すな。てかやっぱそうだよな。
もしもの話だよ。そうしていたらシルバはどうしてた？
もしもそうだな。そんなことがあったらまあ間違いなく貴族なんてクソくらいだって思っただろうな。下手すりゃお貴族様らから奪う側になってたかもしんねえ。
Silva flashes a toothy grin. Considering the state he was in 8 years ago, it would have been no shock if it did end up that way. So yeah, 8 years ago, which is when he met Catarina, so he was 15 when he met Catarina at 8. Dang, how old does that make him now? So he is now a 23-year-old in love with a 16-year-old. Okay.
なら、やっぱり今があることを俺たちはカタリナに感謝すべきだね。
Sorry, I'm I'm the one that has to figure these things out. I need to know every little detail. We're just gonna pretend we're all the same age. Silva and I look up at the sky together. If I had never met Catarina, I would never have understood the beauty of the sky. I am certain Silva is no different. One brief meeting changed our whole lives. I savor once more the joy of reuniting with her, so irreplaceable in my heart. No cliffhanger this time? No cliffhanger this time. It was a nice, sweet little ending. It was cute. It was really long, really long chapter. Not as long as the last one in Nicole's though. Oh my goodness. I think I'm just gonna have to set aside the awkwardness of Rosie's history with her, just so I can and just enjoy the story, because he is really sweet. And if they had known each other for the entire 8 years, like been in contact and stuff, it wouldn't feel as awkward the way he's just like treating her as if they've never been separated. But it was a stranger absent for 8 years, treating her like like that time was yesterday. And so it's a little bit hard for me to accept the fact that Catarina is just like okay with it. Like if he was just being friendly, it was fine, but he was getting really close and almost tried to kiss her in chapter 3. So, but yeah, I think I'm just going to have to set aside the history and just enjoy it as a story, because Rosie's really sweet. I think as far as like personalities go, he's one of my favorite. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like down below and or subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.